Hello and welcome to the Monsters Miss Mayhem podcast. I'm your host Silver, and our other host is.
Chaotic.
And today is episode 80, which means we got a guest on. We got a traveler coming in. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Chris, and I am a beard that made the conscious decision to grow a human.
I've never heard you introduce yourself like that.
No?
I know. I love that so much. Made the conscious decision to grow a human. Now I'm picturing like Deadpool when he loses his legs, like when he's just the head, like just the torso.
Right, it's exactly
but it's like
that.
a beard. It's like a beard growing a human.
Yep, there was just this giant fuzz on the ground, and then slowly, a small little micro human just started growing underneath the beard.
Chris is a mythic himself.
See, now you have to imagine the beard scurrying across the ground like a crab or a spider.
I actually really hate that. Hang on, I have an image that I'm going to send you.
When your body was smaller than your beard, did your beard have legs to kind of walk you across?
I mean, every single strand of hair was operated as a leg.
So you're kind of like the Pokemon Tangela.
Like you've heard of centipedes and millipedes. It was actually a billipede.
Ah.
If it were on the ground now, it would be a trilipede, but because so many strands of hair have grown, just scurries. And it's actually really useful because when the human is really small, the beard is able to fully encapsulate the human and protect it from predators.
Okay. Hide as a hairball.
Mm-hmm, exactly. The human is just protected, like shielded, under the beard when predators approach.
Okay. Do you do any Twitch or anything?
I do. I stream on Twitch every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m., every Friday at 6 p.m., every Saturday at 12 p.m., all Eastern Standard Time, at twitch.tv/Mr. Chris, M1STERCHR1S.
All right. Well, Mr. Chris, today's topic, that we'll let the audience know, is the Tengu. Also letting Chaotic know again.
Did you need that description again of what a Tengu is and what it can do? I don't think she does. I don't think she wants that description again.
Tango.
Tengu.
Tengu.
Not your favorite dance to do at bar mitzvahs.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing the tango at a bar mitzvah?
I don't know. I've never been to a bar mitzvah.
I don't know that they do the tango, but whatever. We're vibing.
So, what do you all know about the Tengu, Chaotic?
It has a nose.
It does.
That's really big.
It absolutely does. You're right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's part of the Yōkai family. Chris definitely didn't give me any information for this. I totally found this on top of my head. I'm assuming it's probably mischievous because it's part of the Yōkai. I'm assuming some kind of maybe samurai, like fighter, maybe like a swordsman or something. Like I'd figure they'd probably have like qualities. That's really all I would put my bets in on.
Pretty good bets, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Known to be excellent swordsman.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Gotta be whipping that thing around with a nose like that, you know?
Can't whip it too fast. You might catch your nose.
It'll just grow back.
Yeah.
It's like Pinocchio, but for mischief.
Terrifying.
They actually have a magic item to help them grow their nose back.
Ew.
So, would you kind of like to give the first description, Mr. Chris, of the Tengu? Or you would like me to, or?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So Tengu is actually split into two separate varieties. So we got the Daitengu and the Kotengu. But just the term Tengu itself, it actually means heavenly dog.
Okay. Well, that's a lie, but okay.
Why is that a lie?
Because you know damn well they're not heavenly dogs.
That's fair. I don't know about heavenly, but
They might be
I have
dogs.
I have two dogs, and they are incredibly mischievous.
They got that dog in them.
They got that dog in them. Right.
You can cancel me. I'll take the twit longer.
Writing it right now.
So it's they're actually called heavenly dogs because the term Tengu came from China.
Uh-huh.
From China.
And over there's a creature called the Tango, a Tiango. I think it's Tiango. Let me see the pronunciation real quick.
And technically, Tengu means celestial dog.
Yes.
Which I guess celestial could be synonymous with heavenly.
I'd imagine in translation it probably is.
Yeah.
In China, there's another creature called the Tiango, which is a dog-shaped creature that was kind of said to devour the sun. Some thought it could be a meteor or a comet type creature that was shaped like a dog.
I would imagine the sun would be very spicy.
Oh, yeah.
So good luck going to the bathroom after devouring the sun.
Wonder if it'd actually have to eat it or chew it, or if it just inhale it because it's a big gas star.
That's a good point. I don't know that gas. I don't know if that gas feels better going in or coming out, but
I don't know. Yeah, but over the course of history, it kind of got changed from that to the humanoid creature that it is today. So the two different types of Tengu are like I said, the Kotengu and the Daitengu, which is the greater Tengu and the lesser Tengu. The greater Tengus is the one a lot of people know of, which is the human body, great big wings on its back. Their clothing is from a religious sect of Shinto or Buddhism. It's kind of like a combination of Shinto Buddhism, but it's called they are part of the Shugindo practice. And they usually have red faces, super long noses, and their shoes are
the dramatic pause.
sorry, my first thing in the morning, my notes like
Silver's like, I'm used to operating in the evenings. I don't know what this garbage is.
So their shoes are Nikes. Got them Nike Air Buddhas.
their shoes, I believe, are the Gettas, which are like flip flops, but instead of having like the flat bottom, they have just the normal Gettas have two pairs of like wooden cleats on the bottom of it.
Okay,
the
I know
Tengus
what you're
just
talking
have
about.
one in the center.
Oh, so they're
usually
just
pretty tall.
chaotic for no reason.
Yeah,
It's actually pretty amazing that they can be as renowned swordsmen as they are in flip flops.
Balancing
Like,
on
have
flip-flops.
you tried to do anything athletic in flip flops before?
I used to be a pro at flip-flopping. You know, like during soccer season, because when you took those socks off and those shin guards, you threw those flip-flops on, I could book it. I could run. Nowadays, I would definitely eat shit. So
Goodness gracious. I didn't play soccer in school, but I played soccer as an adult.
mm-hmm.
And no way my poor ankles can deal with how bumpy the freaking ground is. My goodness.
I loved it. It was the vibe. I always just threw my slides on and was running around. Soccer was my jam. I played it for like 12 years. Can you imagine, like, so they have the flip-flops with the wooden slats in the middle? Could you imagine being, you know, they're swordsmen with that. So you're just like hoping that you're balancing like a teeter-totter.
it's a flip flop mixed with a stilt.
So yeah, they're just teeter-tottering with giant sharp things.
Uh-huh.
What a vibe.
I feel like that would be like fighting someone who's wearing clogs. Like the sound of the shoes would just be so distracting.
Chris is like, well, I'm dead because I'm trying to figure out what's going on with your fucking feet. I don't understand.
It's like, all right, let's duel. And then All the footwork is distracting me.
They just be sliding around because they don't have any traction.
Mm-hmm. It's illegal.
Along with this outfit, they can usually be accessorized with swords, fans. There's one story with a gourd and a staff that is called a shakujo, which is a staff with a circle on top and circle inside the circles, hanging off the circle.
Yo, dog, I heard you like circles. So I put some circles in your circles.
Within those circles.
Within those circles.
Yep.
So you can circulate while you...
Yeah, circulate. Circulate real good.
Yeah, that's kind of what the Daitengu look like. The Kotengu, on the other hand, is humanoid as well, pretty close to similar outfit, but instead of their face having the human face, it's a bird face. So they got a beak and everything, or beak-shaped mouth, and there's just the lesser Tengu. They usually take orders from the greater Tengus.
Interesting.
Tears of Tengu.
Yep, just like pretty much all the other yokai we had before, the Kitsune and they had their own like tier rank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Society.
Yeah, like societal ranking.
Mm-hmm. There's actually, I believe, 48 great Tengu that are recorded in Japan, and they're actually listed on the Wikia, what they all are. I'm not going to go through the full list, but we'll come across a couple in the stories and such. But that they do be mischievous. In Japan's history of them, they went from pretty much being seen as evil, and then then they slowly throughout history started getting better and better and nicer. So they always picked on Buddhist priests, or they tried to corrupt them. Then they started actually becoming defenders of the Buddhist priests. Would you guys like to hear some stories of the Tengu?
Well, these are going to be mischievous stories, so it's going to be exciting.
Yes. I found out the exact term for the getas that the Tengus wear.
What are they?
They're called the Tengu geta.
Very,
All right,
very
how do I
technical.
leave
I don't
this
know if I can
call
remember
without
that.
hurting the recording? How do I exit?
Exit stage X in the top right.
Yeah, correct.
But some stories of the Tengu. There is variations of it going throughout the centuries. Like I said before, in like the 12th and 13th centuries, they used to be seen as ghosts of angry, vain, or heretical priests who had fallen on the Tengu realm. And the Tengus themselves weren't actually physical beings. Like I said, they were kind of seen as ghosts back then, so they just possessed people.
Imagine a ghost trying to possess you, going clack, 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 running at you across the room.
But see, then that just gave people an excuse to be mischievous. Oh no, it wasn't me. It was the Tengu. Oh no.
Oh no.
They would also sometimes disguise themselves as priests or holy men or nuns in order to try and seduce people or rob them. And often their true form is seen as a kite, like the bird kite, not a flying.
I was like,
I was,
what?
yeah. I was thinking,
I
let me
need
tie this Tengu
verification.
to a string. See how
Right.
much air we can get under that bad boy.
What kind of kite? There's a lot of kites.
Probably a kite found in Japan.
Oh, it's the black kite. It almost looks like a hawk.
They are a bird of prey.
Wow. Thank you. I'm still picturing them on a string though. Like in Shrek when they do the frogs.
Like one of those ninja kites where they're flying.
Yep.
Oh, we also messed up last episode, Chaotic.
Why?
We got our centuries wrong.
Oh no. How terrible.
What?
So
We were trying to figure out our 19th century, 20th century, 21st century. We suck.
Yeah.
It happens.
So for listeners that listened last episode, we messed that up. So the 19th century is actually the 1800s to the 1900s. Like the 17th is the 1600s to the 1699. So currently we are in our 21st century still, because it's 2000 to 2099.
I sent you guys pictures of the actual pictures that were captured of an actual Tengu kite.
Ooh. Honestly majestic. I'm a little disappointed there's not ribbon coming from it, but here we are.
For our blind listeners, we shall put in
For
the picture to
our
Discord.
blind listeners. Blind listeners. What a phrase. What a bunch of words to put together.
We'll send our picture to Discord. But yeah, continuing on, we'll kind of go in chronologically here. So in the 13th century, they always seen that the Tengu would be abducting boys, but the boys would later return about a week later or so. But when they would abduct priests and stuff during this time, the priests wouldn't return. You'd have to actually go find the priest. Usually they'd be tied to the tops of trees.
Why the tops of trees?
If you could fly, where would you tie somebody?
Mountains.
Well, no, because if you tie them up in mountains, they'll probably freeze to death.
That's
I'd
true.
imagine they want to keep them alive.
I guess. Tie them up in a kite. Keep them floating.
So is that what happened in King Kong? It actually wasn't a giant gorilla. It was actually a Tengu.
It's
that
actually a
tied
Tengu.
a priest to the top of, was that the Empire State Building?
I couldn't tell you. It's been so long since I've seen King Kong. Chaos, the kaiju expert.
No, we're not going to relate King Kong to a Tengu. That's not going to happen here. That's what we're not going to do. Because
Why is that not what we're going to do?
Because we're not going to disrespect Kong like that. In my salad. Kong is way cooler than these guys. Okay?
The animosity Chaotic has toward Tengu.
Fuck these guys.
She has developed a serious beef.
It's their noses.
She's actually right now writing her diss track.
Correct.
On Tengu.
Correct.
Coming June 2024. Keep an eye out.
Thank you for that. Also coming July 2024. Well, hopefully before July 2024. Chris beating my ass at Flashbangs. So show up for that.
Maybe we'll play an Oni that is rocking a Tengu cosmetic, because I believe that was what was in the Rift.
No.
Oh.
No. How does everything come back to DBD in this podcast? How did we end up here?
All of our guests have usually DBD experience.
But also it ties back, because I think the most recent Oni cosmetic in the Rift included a Tengu mask.
Right, I guess continuing on, during the 17th century, the stories of the Tengu started to become less malicious, and some of them actually became like protectors of Buddhist institutions. Then between the 18th and 19th century, they gained a reputation for protectors of different forested regions and became more nature spirits, nature yokai.
And were those both the Daitengu and the Kotengu?
Yes. Yeah, the Daitengu would lead their troops of Kotengus in protecting the forest, like a big family unit, big clan.
Listen, you got to get into the family business somehow.
Yeah. The Kotengus were said to be just the arrogant people who were changed into Tengus after they died, if you were arrogant in life. And the Daitengus were the arrogant Buddhist priests that died. They turned to the greater Tengu. So that's how you get your two variations. If you're just a normal person, you become a Kotengu. But if you're a Buddhist monk or Buddhist priest, you become a Daitengu. But both kinds, you got to be super arrogant and have a lot of vanity and pride.
So that's a good word of warning to the audience is stay humble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're prideful and arrogant, you turn into Tengu. And like our Oni episode, going back to Oni, if you're just a very bad person, you turn into an Oni if you die.
Yes.
What if you're a very bad person and very prideful about it? Which do you turn into?
Then you turn into an Oni with a Tengu mask. Going back to the DVD.
There you go. Exactly. That's what it was. Which would actually track for the Oni's backstory. DVD backstories are a different podcast.
They're a discontinued podcast.
Discontinued?
Discontinued.
I gotta go, guys. I can't.
I gotta leave. I can
Can't
no longer
believe
be
that's
here.
not a thing anymore.
Somebody quits the podcast every day.
It's me.
There's actually a term for the people associated with vanity and pride. It's kind of, the term translates to becoming a Tengu. It's called Tengu ni Nara. Tengu ni Naru. Naru?
Mhm.
My Japanese is not bad. I'm not, or not good.
It's
not that far
It's not great, but it's not bad. We're working on it.
I'm still in the early stages of Duolingo.
There you go. This podcast is not yet sponsored by Duolingo, but keep an eye out.
The Kotengu also had some other terms to refer to them as the lesser Tengu. They are also called sometimes the Karasu Tengu or Crow Tengu.
Ooh, crow Tengu, because the Kotengu is a bird like Tengu, and crow is a bird.
Yes.
So crow Tengu, perfect.
Also the Kupa or Konoha Tengu, which refers to the foliage Tengu. It's kind of what they kind of translate to.
Do you think that's where Koopa Troopers from Mario came from?
Possibly.
Maybe. Or Konoha from Naruto, Leaf Village. But they were called a Koopa or Konoha because of their probably resemblance to being nature spirits in the forests. So, story time. There's a couple stories I liked that I heard. One story was about an old man who had his lump removed. Have you guys heard of this one?
Oh, goodness.
I have not.
I'm going to try and recite this by memory, or my version of it from what I heard a couple times. So the old man who has his lump removed is a older story. So this old man, he has a tumor on his face. He encounters a band or a group of Tengu out in the forest, being merry, dancing along, just kind of partying out in the woods. And he decides to go join them.
Oh, naturally.
So he goes out he goes over, greets the Tengu, and the old man starts to dancing and partying alongside with them. Well, these Tengu was so pleased with his dancing that they wanted to keep him there and keep him coming back to them to keep dancing with him. So they decided to steal something from the old man. And what they stole from the old man was his tumorous lump on his face.
Because he's definitely going to keep coming back because he needs his tumor back, right?
Yep, that's what they thought. Because Tengu are also associated with being easily tricked because of their arrogance.
Even the Daitengu?
Not quite the Daitengu so much. Mainly the Kotengu. But you can trick a Daitengu. It's just arrogance gets in the way.
So were they confused when he didn't come back?
Well, he didn't come back, like you said. But his neighbors seen that his lump was gone. And the old man told his neighbor what happened.
Oh, no.
The other neighbor also had a tumorous lump on his face.
Oh, no.
So he decided to go out to the woods as well. And he started dancing with the Tengu. But he was a terrible dancer. So much so that the Tengu was also appalled that someone else would come to claim the get something from them, that they just gave this other neighbor guy, the first guy's lump. So now this guy's got 2 lumps on his face.
Yeah. That.
And then the guy left with 2 tumors on his face instead of just 1.
Oof. Oof.
That was the end of that story. That's all. These are all like real short stories.
There's definitely something to learn there about greed too. About thinking that,
Yeah.
oh, they'll just remove your tumor. Okay, I'll head out there myself.
Nothing's ever free twice.
No,
Another thing with Tengu is they're also seen to be great swordsmen. Great because they're seen to be kind of like creatures of war that provoke chaos and battles. So they're great swordsmen. At least the Daitengu were. So much so that the king of Tengus, Sojobu, during this next story, is the story of Minamoto Yoshitsune. So Yoshitsune was a young boy, orphan when his parents were killed, which is how orphans are made, I guess. So he went to a temple and he kind of didn't want to be a monk. So he would go training in the evenings to be a swordsman to get revenge for who killed his parents. Well, in the forest, he met a Tengu called Sojobu. Sojobo. And Sojobo liked this young boy, Yoshitsune, so much that he decided to teach him his way of the sword, how to fight.
but he probably incorrectly taught him to counterbalance from the weight of the nose. Probably messed everything.
Yeah. He could only fight on the Tengu Getas.
Yep. Need the flippy floppies, or it just ain't gonna happen.
So after Yoshitsune was done being trained, he was said to be the greatest swordsman and never really lost any battles. Then Yoshitsune also taught other people the Tengu's techniques, which later turned into the techniques samurai used and the techniques that ninja used. So he kind of had a role in developing ninjutsu.
Interesting.
Yeah, his ninjutsu style was actually used in one of the first military campaigns in the Genpei War. That's when shinobi were first kind of utilized, which I think is an actual war in Japan. There's a couple other stories too, but I didn't write them down. Would you guys like to move on to media?
Yeah. See how Tengu are
Yeah.
reflected in media.
Uh-huh. So, can you guys think of any media that the Tengu are in?
Dead by Daylight.
Thank you, Chris.
Sorry,
I
my
don't know
throat. I
anything,
forgot to
actually.
mute. It's my bad.
So you can see a lot of anime and manga have Tengu in them. So like One Piece, the Kozuki Sukiyaki, he dresses as Tengu. He has wings. He's got a long nose with a red face mask. He walks on the Tengu Getas. He's pretty much a Tengu in the One Piece universe. 47 Ronin, that movie has a Tengu in it.
How are these Tengus betrayed in those pieces of media?
Uh,
Like, are they portrayed as mischievous, evil beings, or
I'm not sure of 47 Ronin, but I know in One Piece he's kind of like a ousted swordsmith.
okay?
He just kind of dresses as one. Same with Demon Slayer. If you've seen Demon Slayer, the Water Hashira's trainer, the retired Water Hashira, he wears a Tengu mask when he teaches Tanjiro.
Hmm.
There's Tengu Man, who is a boss in Mega Man 8.
Very clever name.
Mm-hmm. Great naming back in 1996. Who is just literally like a mechanical Tengu flying around. There's also a Shredder in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles called Tengu Shredder, which is like the Shredder's original past self. Because he was such a great warrior, they called him the Tengu Shredder. There's a Tengu in Pokemon as well. So the Tengu in Pokemon are Nuzleaf and Shiftry. Are the two Pokemon are based on the Tengu. And Digimon has Tengu as well. I think it's Karatenmon. Yeah, that's all my notes for those.
Interesting.
That's all I wrote down. But the Tengus are pretty popular. They're used in a lot of different places, or at least the mask is. Okay, now it's time for Chaotic's favorite time.
Yeah.
Yeah, clicky clacky, clicky clacky.
A lot of excitement.
So, Chris, this is the part of the show where we go into mayhem.
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 All right, Chris, I got a big question for you.
Sweet, delicious mayhem. Yes.
Have you listened to any of our episodes of this podcast? There's no wrong answer here. I'm just asking because I have to figure out how to explain this.
I have not.
Okay, so we have a mayhem university. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody has a role in that university.
Mhm.
Where would you place the Tengu?
Ooh, that is a good question. Probably, I really want to lean like a physical education instructor.
Not the PE teacher.
I mean, if there's a fencing class.
You're absolutely correct. Those flip-flops running around, got some janky socks on, looking weird, has the weirdest outfit, yelling at people that probably they don't deserve to be yelled at.
Absolutely. And the level of arrogance.
Yeah.
They're the people that constantly revert back to, well, when I was in my prime doing this. Okay, bud. Okay, bud.
Back in my day.
Would you split the Kotengu and the Daitengu, or would you just keep them both in one?
So the physical education teacher would also double as Mayhem University's sports coaching. So the Daitengu would be the head coach, and the Kotengu would be the assistant coaches.
Ah, okay. I like that thought. I'm going to expand. They're the kendo or fencing. Be their subjects they're experts in, probably.
Oh, for sure.
Can you imagine them on a hard wooden gym floor? Clickety clackety.
Them just standing in the middle of the floor. Take another lap.
I like how we always imagine them running, but they got wings.
No, you know, I picture they're like one of those creatures that purposely make the clicky clack noises, like when they're available to.
Absolutely. It's not a matter of them having wings as much as it is they just want the clickety clackities.
One would say it's a matter of pride.
Okay, Silver.
Perfection.
Where would you put him, Kayak?
No, I think gym teacher's pretty solid, to be honest. Feel like that fits the role. You know, sword master, attitude, wildly gross. And this is not at any of my friends that are, if any of you are gym teachers, you're not this person. I'm talking about the people that we grew up with that were definitely questionable on the scale of should be around children.
I think I'm gonna just leave that alone.
I think that they're like medium on the chaos scale. They're not like completely
Medium?
over the halfway point, but they're not like a Tarrasque danger either. You know what I mean?
It seems like in the stories, based off of the stories we've heard about Tengu, if I was to give them a D&D alignment, I would probably call them chaotic neutral.
I could agree with that.
They kind of do whatever. They have been known in history to help some, but of course they also have a history of hurting. So there isn't necessarily only self-serving, which would make them evil, but they're definitely not only benevolent spirits. So they definitely wouldn't be chaotic good. But they're definitely chaotic because sort of being the embodiment of mischief, I feel like you can't place them anywhere but chaotic.
Oh yeah, I agree. You just reminded me. The Aarakocra kind of resembled Daitengu which is the race in D&D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a race that you gotta have a cool DM that'll let you play it.
Flying speed right off the bat. It's always fun.
Yeah, flying speed right away is tough to balance as a DM.
There's another thing I just remembered. The estimated population size in Japan for Tengu is about 125,000. 125,500 is the estimated population of Tengu currently in Japan.
Which sounds like a lot, but when you think about how many people occupy Japan,
Yeah.
it's not as... I'm actually curious now. What is the current population of Japan? Basically 123 million in 2024, according to worldometers.info.
Yeah, so like a hundredth or a tenth of, I'm not good with math, of the population of Japan's humans.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that actually is significant.
Which they can, another power they had was the shape-shifting ability, which all yokai seem to have, so.
They could be anyone.
Yes. They just gotta shrink their nose. Oh, I forgot to tell you a story. It's a story of a woodcutter.
Well, tell it.
Because I mentioned earlier in the episode that they had a tool to grow their noses out.
Mm-hmm.
So Tengu has a magic fan that when you wave it on somebody, their nose grows. That's all this fan does. Well, besides, sometimes they can make tornadoes with it, depending on the story, like bad weather. But this guy, he ends up he finds a Tengu and it left his fan laying around. So the guy grabs the fan, steals it, and he was too poor to marry the Lord's daughter. So in order to kind of marry his daughter, this guy takes the fan he stole. When the daughter is sleeping, he sneaks in, waves it over her face, and her nose grows grotesquely large. And no one would marry her then. So he came up to her father, said, "Hey, I can fix your daughter's nose, but you gotta let me marry her." And the father said yes. So the guy took the fan and shrank the nose back down to normal, and so they got married. Well, later on, when the guy was sleeping, his wife seen that he was sweating and was hot during his sleep, so she took the fan, not knowing what the fan was, and waved it over his face. Well, his nose started to grow, but it wouldn't stop until it reached the heavens.
This is the Tengu, or
This is the guy that stole the Tengu's fan.
okay? Oh, the guy who just married the Lord's daughter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So his now wife, through trickery, waved over his face, and his nose grew to the heavens, which signaled the Tengu where his fan was. So the Tengu who lost his fan flew in, took his fan back, and then left that man grotesquely long-nosed as a punishment for him. And his wife left him after that because they realized that that she got tricked by him.
But see, the benefit of this is that this man could now level kingdoms with the shake of his head. So it is
Yes.
still useful today.
The nose ain't very strong. I wonder if it's all cartilage. It'd have to be all cartilage. You just bend around things.
Well, I mean, I guess in that case, he could use it to catch things.
Yeah, like a big club.
You run and he just whips the nose and it just wraps around them like a rope.
Yeah.
But it's okay. They have cosmetic surgery for that now.
An axe.
That could also work, yeah. Ask me about my nose.
I don't, like you guys said, I don't think they'll be too chaotic in the modern day times, especially since they had a target, mainly the Buddhist priests and the religions associated with Buddhism.
Do you think with times evolving and updated weaponry in the world, do you think that the Tengu would have stuck with swords, or do you think that they would have moved on to different types of weaponry?
Being arrogant, I would like to think they'd keep to the sword.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There is a story of a Tengu kidnapping somebody, and he's gone for 3 years. but when the kid returns, he comes back with a magic gun that never misses its shots.
Oh yeah, I've played against some of those on Valorant.
It's the people that Chaotic trained.
Yep, exactly. How long can one be arrogant before they realize that they're outclassed? Like with swords, for example, if you have people with machine guns, how long can you be outclassed before you adapt?
I think you'd have to lose a couple hundred or so people probably before they start realizing it. Depends if they leave any witnesses. But if you're fighting one-on-one, yeah, you probably realize pretty quick. As a species, I don't know.
And are Tengu immortal, or can you kill a Tengu?
I did not find that. No one said whether they were immortal or they could be killed. Imagine if they can't be killed, the population just keeps on growing.
According to an infallible source, Reddit.com. Actually, that's specific to a video game. Never mind.
I know you can kill them in video games.
In this particular video game, it looks like, or at least it's in the category is Genshin Impact. It suggests that it says in terms of immortality, they may be supernatural, but they are mortal. If they are wounded, they turn into crows so they can escape. If they performed good deeds in their life, they can ascend into reincarnation and be reborn as a human.
Okay, makes sense.
But that could just be specific to Genshin Impact, or this is somebody giving background about something in Genshin Impact and what it means in real life terms. Japanese demon that's basically a mini god. Who would win in a fight in theory, a Tengu or an Oni?
An Oni.
Eh.
An Oni. Don't me, Silver.
Why would you say that?
Onis are just cooler.
The coolest people don't always win the fight.
Tengu's got the skill though.
Yeah. And Onis have skill.
Onis have a giant iron club.
Yeah, but they had skill before they died. And
Yeah.
that club hurts. So I don't know what you're insinuating here.
Are you saying that a master swordsman couldn't evade a club? Are you insulting the flip-flops?
I am insulting the flip-flops.
Imagine.
Hardcore insulting those flip-flops.
Imagine. As somebody who was vouching for the effectiveness of flip-flops earlier while playing soccer.
I do
It's
love
kind of
flip-flops.
arrogant of you. Are you going to become a Tengu?
No, because I could never survive with that nose. I would literally just be deceased.
I'd say you'd get used to it after a while.
Yeah. You find other uses for the nose.
Yeah.
I could find uses for it. I won't go into those uses because I'm not sure exactly what rating your podcast
you're talking
is.
about. It's technically immature.
Although if you had bats on here, then yeah, your podcast.
Yeah, it was spicy. We did a ghost face with bats too.
That was that the episode that you broadcast on Twitch? That was you did a smash or pass?
No, but that one was good.
Anyways, would you guys like to start wrapping things up?
Ricka. Oh, wait, you mean?
Oh no.
Sorry.
Thank our patrons real quick, which is Mondi, Ruby, and Mage. And also another big special thank you to our traveler, Mr. Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a fun time.
It's fun to have you on. Would you like to plug yourself again if you want?
Please.
Really? Right here?
Right. All right.
Yeah, if you want to catch up with me, you can find me on most social medias as Mr. Chris. The eyes are ones. Same, I stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Username is Mr. Chris, M1STERCHR1S.
Is there any chaotic news?
I am getting ready to actually set the time for publishing In Case of Monsters Break Glass, which is our first episode of our written series where Kaotic and Silver and guests adventure on a short story term and visit all of the monsters. The Tarrasque is fairly short. It's mostly just a description of what we're looking for and introducing yourselves to Kaotic and Silver as characters. It is mostly just giving you an idea of how the rest of it's going to go and how the information will be shared. So please just, give it a look if you are on our Patreon paid tier. It's for any of the paid tiers, I do believe. And then, yeah, it's just a fun little inclusive thing. If you're part of our Patreon and you help support the podcast at all, that you get to be a part of. I've enjoyed working on it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. I believe that's it. I have it scheduled for Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. to air. So like the same day that our podcast airs. So it'll be up Wednesday. Your guys' first episode of In Case of Monsters Break Glass.
I would imagine that any visit to a Tarrasque would be very short. You're like, hey, there's a Tarrasque. Roll credit.
The sneak peek of the episode is mostly me trying to murder Silver for not running when he's supposed to. So, you know,
sounds right.
just in case you guys would like, it's pretty great.
Can the Mr. Chris episode be us trying to figure out how to wear Tengu getas?
It's absolutely going to be Chris stealing flip-flops. It will be you.
Floppies.
It'll be you stealing their nose device, and it will be me shaking my head the entire time. So,
okay. Well then, other podcast news. We've decided what to do for reaching our goal last year, and during Halloween this year, we are going to cosplay as monsters and maybe do a live stream or recording so you guys can see.
Ooh, any insight as to what monsters you'll be?
We do not know yet, unless Chaotic's got an idea.
For what?
What we're cosplaying as for Halloween this year.
Oh, were we not putting it up for a vote?
Yeah, we can do that. I didn't.
Okay, we'll pick like 3 each.
You pulled a Chaotic and then never responded back.
Oh well, you know I'm good at that. So
we'll put a post up about 3 each, like Chaotic said. Chaotic, would you like to do the outro?
Thank you for listening to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Silver and Chaotic take you into the depth of the lore and discuss how these legends could affect modern-day society. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or almost any podcast service easiest to you. Dive into the depths of chaos with us every Wednesday, bar Silver and Chaotic not missing their scheduling, and consider joining the podcast Discord or Twitter, following even more insider looks and even some D&D sessions. If you'd like some extra special inside looks or even want to be a guest on the show, consider helping us via Patreon. Your help makes such a big difference to us both. Until next time, Mythics, you never know what kind of mayhem we might get into. So what is this monster we're doing today? What's its name?
Tengu, a Japanese supernatural being considered to be the reincarnated spirit of one who is proud and arrogant in life.
Mm-hmm.
Proud and arrogant.
Got big, long noses. They are a part of the Yōkai family of spirits.
Not the noses again.
Mm-hmm. The noses. Penis noses.
No!
Yep. It's like somebody could like ride their face and get the whole whole
did
shebang right away.
I'm done.
Don't even need to participate in anything standard. Get everything right up front. Or back if you turn around.
Oh, God.